shadow of O'Hare and complaining about airplane noise and going to meetings to resolve the problems. There were deer crossing signs all over this village when you drove around the village looking for homes, and the deer came with it. Maybe more than what you thought were here. However, I personally think that there's got to be a happy medium. I'm not for, the one extreme that I think says kill all the deer. I think Sherry Gradator quoted the study, if you will, that showed that the topography at Ryerson was not totally damaged or destroyed,
Yes,
even though it wasn't.
property.
Pardon?
Property.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No seeming difference between that and fenced-in property.
Actually, it was better.
And we allude to the facts and the international studies, etc. I don't know if this is a question of people who have moved into this village without having done their homework. They're surprised there are deer in Riverwoods and they eat plants. My God. There were books published. Kaplan's neighbor, the nurse, or the doctor, I'm sorry, on the Plan Commission, talked about having a botanist come in and tell her what plants deer do and don't eat, and she supposedly planted those plants, and that was something that we advocated about 10 years ago. We have done or paid for studies as a village with the commitment that those studies would be disseminated among the new residents that came in after those studies were completed. And you ask somebody that has moved in and they don't have that study. They were never given or offered that study. So, we spend a lot of money and we do a lot of studying, and I think we're going to talk about one later on today. And bottom line is, as a board member, and I've been one for quite a while now, 20 years to be exact, I'm trying to come up with something that'll keep people happy. They wanted deer fences. The way this started out, the people came in marching on Village Hall, and they wanted deer fences, and they didn't want the deer fences that were in existence taken down, etc. So the board called the Plan Commission together, and the Plan Commission met and heard all the people, and we heard all the people, and now we're trying to come up with a compromise, and that's going on in left field. Nobody wants to compromise anymore. We're becoming polarized. And my offering to this request for information was to, in my opinion, further compromise. And because the residents were somewhat unanimous, the ones I heard about us, weren't happy with the amount of unfenced area or fenced area that was allowed in the areas in South Riverwoods. So I proposed an expansion of the setbacks or requirements of, I expanded the area that you would have as a fenced-in area. The side markers that side lots on both the R1 and R2. I did the same thing with the back area. Cut it in half to expand to.
That's what this is, Bill.
That's what this is. The maps show and they calculate. They take you on R1 from
Normally a 40-foot front
I took you to 28% that you could have fenced. And the width on the side yard takes you right up to the building line, and virtually all the side yards are double. The same thing with the backyard. And think, I would hope, at least I hoped, that the expanded area would satisfy those that, I mean, to me, it's virtually the whole area you can cover. And still leave the side yards between lots to enable the deer to move around or browse, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was a happy compromise, along with the other compromises that that are offered. I personally think that the village board can come up with a happy medium with the residents' approval to hammer out a solution to this thing. You can't be hard and fast in this, and we haven't gotten to anything with hard.
What would be the front yard setback?
I didn't fool with the front.
So what is the front yard setback?
60 feet.
From the property line or the? So that's the middle of the road. Because our property line goes to the middle of the road.
Essentially, if I can summarize, as I understand it, Bill, then correct me if I'm wrong, where the ordinance proposes that you could have a deer fence at the setback line, Bill is suggesting that you can have a deer fence halfway between the lot line and the setback line on the rear and the side yards.
Right. Exactly, in both R1 and R2.
Rose, what's the feet on the
What?
R2?
Well,
R2?
on the R2, the rear yard is 50 feet, so halfway back would be
So it's
25.
25, okay.
The side yards,
Side yard is 40 feet. Half of that would move it back 20 feet from the side lot line.
So 25 feet back from the front lot yard?
No.
Is this-
Front stays the same.
Front stays alone.
60 feet.
60.
So if your house is right up along the road, you can't fence in any part of that.
Your house is 60 feet from the middle of the road. You can't do
The
anything.
suggestion is that
Yeah, there are houses
the
there.
deer
My
fence be
neighbors.
all the way back to the front setback line. It's the adjustments on the rear and the side
It has nothing to do where the front, it has nothing to do where the house is.
setback line would still
Sure
be.
it does.
Sure does.
Yeah.
If you have a building
There's an
envelope,
envelope.
and someone elects to build in front of the building envelope, then they're not going to have any area front for fence.
Right. But they have the whole back.
Right.
Bruce,
More in the back unless in the front.
Somebody asked a question. Hold on, please.
I just have one comment. I don't.
No, wait, I was.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
As a clarification, somebody asked, is the setback from the front property line, or is it from the middle of the road?
Well, ours, in our,
It's certain
we own to the middle of the road.
Okay.
But the yard, the front yard is measured from the easement, it's not measured from the front property line. Under our zoning, the front yard is measured from the easement, not from
Not from the middle of the road.
Oh,
Okay, so the easement comes back 20 feet,
Right.
correct?
And then there's
So you're
another
gonna
60
start 20
feet.
feet, then you're gonna go back another.
So there's really 80 feet
So
from
it's
the
80
front of your
feet.
yard.
I'm not sure.
Most people aren't aware of, the setback, the part that's in built, most people aren't aware of because we never counted any calculations. So if you had a 60-foot front yard in the R2 district, we looked at the 60 feet from the edge of the easement back.
The easement's 20 feet.
No, it's road easement.
Okay.
Am I correct, road easement?
Well,
Right.
depends where you are in South River.
It's the road easement.
Well, you know.
It's
you'd have
not
to-
20
you'd have to
feet
look
back
at-
from the
you'd have
road
to
and
look
then
at the
60
plan.
feet.
So 80 feet.
No, it's not.
You just said 20
I
feet
said
plus
it's
60.
not
Well,
20
let's
feet.
hear it from, what do you think?
In a typical Riverwoods subdivision, South Riverwoods lot, the roadway easement is 20 feet, and then that 60 feet is measured from, so you're correct, 80 feet from.
I was, yeah.
not-
Yeah,
But
sorry,
just
I was-
remember that the pavement
80 feet.
weaves back and forth, the pavement's much narrower, so really, you shouldn't